Good morning, everyone. Miss D here. Today we're going to be looking at Pixlr, and we're going to learn Pixlr, which is an online image editing tool, and we can import images from your computer, okay, or from a URL. Today we're going to create a basic logo, and the key points to remember are to name all the layers, always create a new layer, and always rasterize your layer. The reason you're creating you're naming all your layers is because you want to name your layers something specific that you will remember that is that image or that text on that particular layer. And you always want to create a new layer so that you can go back to just that layer if you need to. And you're going to rasterize your layer so that you can edit that particular layer. We're going to be looking at a few tools, and the tools we're going to be looking at are the drawing tools, the move tool, and your type tool. So let's get started. I created a basic logo, and basically you're creating the words. Just open this so you can see it. Here we go. Bill's Barbecue. Now the logo we're creating right now will not look exactly like this, so just to let you know, that's just a heads up. But you do want to have an image on your computer already that you want to put within your logo. I also suggest that you look at several different logos so that you know exactly what you want your logo to be before you get started. Plan your logo before you get started. Do not sit down at a computer with a blank slate and have no idea what you're going to create. Create it by hand first, or at least think it through so that you know basically what you want to do. All right. So once you open up your browser, type in Pixlr.com, go to the Pixlr editor, and then go launch web app, and your program should open. My computer is working a little slow, so please bear with me. Okay, then we're going to create a new image. So we're going to click on create a new image. Okay, you're going to call your file your last name. I'm going to call mine Bill. The width is on your rubric is 288, and your height is 288. Width and height should be the same, and you want your background of your logo to be transparent, and you just click OK, and it gives you your first layer. If we look over to our right, we see our history panel. The history panel in this area, the software will record every step you make within this editor. The layers, this is where we will rename our layers. So you just double click, we see layer 0, and you can call this first layer background. Now you don't have to call it background. I just suggest that you call it background because you'll know that your background is your first layer. And this is your navigator. You can make your palette smaller or larger, however you like to work with it. I like to work with it 100%, so I'm going to keep it where it is. This is your tools panel. So what we're going to do on the tools panel is we're working with the drawing tool right at the moment. Because if we go back to our sample logo, we see that we made this oval. Now, I may make the oval, I may make the circle. So just to let you know, it's not going to look exactly the same as the first one. Okay, so I'm clicking on the drawing tool. And when I click on the drawing tool, you see I get all of these different options here. Okay, I want to make an oval, so I'm going to click on the ellipses tool, and I'm going to click on fill size because I want the oval to be filled with a particular color. And I want the hue to be red, so the outside circle is my hue. So I'm picking that, and then I'm picking a bright red. Okay. So our color before was black, and this is the color we picked now. And I like that color. It's a good color. So I'm going to click OK. So I already clicked the ellipsis tool. So all I have to do is really just draw what I want. So that looks about what I want. Okay, so I'm clicking on my move tool. So I'm clicking on that one time, and I'm going to my oval, and I'm just moving it wherever I want it to be. Okay. All right, that's where I want it to be. Now I'm going to edit because I want to turn this just a little bit. So I'm going to my edit command. I'm going to freeform. Now, if you want this image to be larger, all you have to do is click right here and then slide, left click and hold and slide this out. But if you want to turn it, once you get the curved arrow, just and you put it in the position that you want, then press enter. Okay, once you press enter, it has basically saved that information on that particular spot. Okay, so I'm satisfied with my background layer. So because I'm satisfied with it, I want to make sure I rasterize the layer. Now I'm rasterizing the layer so that I can go back and make edits if I need to. Okay, so now if I need to go back to this particular background, I could go back to this particular oval background and make any changes that I want. Now I'm going to need to start a new layer, so I'm going to say new layer. Okay, you see layer 1 comes up. So I'm going to put in image barbecue ribs, because that's the image that I am going to bring in from my computer. Okay, so I'm going to layer, and I'm going to open image as a layer. Now the reason I'm opening the image as a layer is because if I don't open the image as a layer, I will lose some of the image. So I'm opening the image. I could lose some of the images if the image is too big. So I'm going to bring it in as a layer, and I need to make sure that the image is not larger than my palette that I'm working on. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some styles to this particular layer. Okay, so I'm clicking on styles. Now I'm just moving the palette over a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm clicking on drop shadows to make a shadow. So you see it has a background shadow. And I'm clicking on bevel because I want to make these little sharp edges just a little bit smoother. So I'm clicking on that. So it's making it just a little bit smoother. And I'm clicking on outer glow. And you see it has an outer glow. Now if I double click on drop shadow, you can control the type of shadow you want. If you want the distance to be far away, you can make it far away. I actually like it pretty close together. If you want the opaqueness to be a little lighter, you can, or a little deeper. It just depends on what you want. I like it at 75, so I'm taking it back to where it was. Okay, and I'm saying okay to that. All right. Now I'm going to rasterize this layer because I may want to make changes to this particular layer. So I'm going to rasterize the layer. Then I'm going to start a new layer because my new layer is going to be text. Okay, you can see it says layer 3, and I'm going to put TEXT, and that text is going to say Bill. And then clicking out of it, I'm going to my text tool, clicking on text, clicking where I want my text to go, and I'm clicking in my text box, and I'm saying BILL''S. Okay, now the font, I want the font to be copper black. Okay, I know I want the font size to be 61. And I want the style to be bold and italicized. Okay, and I want my color. Can you see what's happening to the name? And I want my color to be, and I already have my hex color, so I know exactly what I want it to be. So I can go in and just put the number 7, 8, and 4 zeros. You don't have to use that color. You can use any color you want. Remember, the outside ring is for the hue, the inside ring is for the color. You have different colors you can choose from. I like this particular one, so I'm going to say okay. Okay. Now I'm going to click on my move tool, and as I want this to be about right there. Okay, and I want to add layers, styles to my layers. So I want to add a drop shadow to it, and I want to add an outer glow. Okay, all right, and I'm going to say okay. Now this is what I'm telling you to make sure you write down. Drop shadow and outer glow, and then click OK. All right, now done with this layer, so I'm going to say rasterize the layer in case I want to come back and make changes. Okay, and then I'm going to say new layer because I have to make a new layer. If we look at our sample, we have BBQ at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to put in the new layer, we're going to call it text, and we're going to call the text BBQ because that's exactly where we're writing. We're going to click out of it. Okay, we're going to go to our type tool, and we're going to click where we want the BBQ to go, and then click in text, and we just type BBQ, and it's copper black 61. We know the color that we want. Oh, I put BBA, didn't I? I want BBQ, but let me do this first. Okay, I know the color 7, 8, and 4 zeros. Okay, I'm going to click OK. I want BBQ, and I'm going to put I know that this should be bold and italicized. Okay, and I'm going to say OK. Now it's up too high, so I'm going to click the move. I'm going to move it. Okay. Now I want to add styles to my layer. I want the drop shadow, and I want the outer glow. And I'm going to say OK. And there we have it, our logo. Now for the picture, what you want to do is, if this is not a picture that you own, you want to make sure you're citing that particular picture at the bottom. Use your type tool and cite the picture, the source, at the bottom. And then you want to go and click File. You want to save. Okay. And then you want to click on the drop down arrow, and you want to save it as a transparent PNG. Okay. If you're not finished creating your image in class, then you're going to create it as a PXD. That way you can go in and still make changes to it. All right. If you have any questions, see me in class. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.